Segue to our culture segment. Some troubling things happened within the city of Charlotte this week.
That's an understatement.
It seems like it's a normal occurrence.
Yeah, right.
Our city leaders, 100% African American, received some disturbing letters from somebody in the populace, basically saying troubling things like "going to hog tie you" and things like that, and basically calling out Black Democrats and stuff like that. Just going to give some background. The mayor of Charlotte is African American. The city manager is African American. The DA, police chief, head of the school board, fire chief, and also
our NBA owner.
NBA stop. And just all of them are African American, and we're in a world where changing demographics are scaring people, and it's we lived in a world where 10 years ago, President Obama was elected and racism went away, and so it's
and our quarterback said racism didn't exist anymore.
Oh, that was the advisors that I own on the assigned to him.
Yeah.
So what do you guys feel about this,
all right,
man?
Jamal, you take this one.
Gosh,
I find it very, very ironic that the mayor and the city council who pushed so hard for the RNC to be here on 2020
You my boy, Jamal.
are receiving these hateful messages coming from the right, quote unquote. I hate saying that because I've said time and time again, when we talk about Republicans versus Democrats, it's almost never a productive conversation because people miss the big picture when you frame a conversation as Republicans versus Democrats. Now, it is necessary to frame it this way because these particular letters that were going to these council members are Democrats.
yeah,
And the language in these letters were clearly Republican versus Democrat. But to anybody who is sensible, to anybody who has some common sense, it was obviously racially charged language against Black mayor, Black police chief, Black DA, mostly people of color,
Black superintendent
in our city council. I don't want to say I'm happy it happened. I don't want to say it that way. But at the same time, if that doesn't wake up the people involved in this, I don't know what does. I don't know what would make them second guess being so accommodating to the RNC with this particular administration coming here in 2020. I hope they wake up and realize the Pandora's box that you may have just opened. I'm gonna keep it at that.
I really don't know how to word how I'm feeling, so bear with me, okay?
Think through it,
But
because we don't need
the last couple of years, we've had 2, possibly 3 high profile shootings here in Charlotte that kind of ignited the racial conversation. We've opted to allow the RNC to come here next year. We and even then, when he had a rally, when our commander in chief had a rally in Greenville, he made disparaging remarks. The city actually took a vote on whether or not to pull out of their agreement, and they still agreed to allow him and his constituents to come in 2020. Now, in their defense, they were advised by legal counsel it will do you more good than harm than allow them to come because you guys have already agreed to do so. So I will put that caveat out there. But as African Americans, as minorities, as women, as anybody in any oppressed group, we have always been told to get out there and vote for people who look like you and share your interests, because when they are voted in office, they will look out for you. That has not been the case here in Charlotte. That has not been the case here in Charlotte from our mayor or from our police chief. So when I read that they received threatening letters, obviously I don't want any harm to come to me.
Right.
I don't want
Let's
any harm
be very
to come.
clear
Yeah,
about that.
I want
Yeah.
no harm to come to anybody, no matter what your beliefs are, no matter what side of the fence you stand on. But I told myself, in some way, see, you've been. Help me out, Jamal. What's the right word I'm looking
Accommodating.
for? You've been accommodating for them the entire time in the name of democracy, and they are still hitting you with the attacks.
Mm-hmm.
You have accommodated at the expense of your supporters' well-being, mental as well as physical. Because I know a lot of people who are leaving Charlotte during the 2020 RNC because they just don't want to get caught up in anything. So at the expense of your supporters, have you accommodated for the other side, and you are still getting this type of stuff. So I hope it's some sort of eye opener. I don't want to say this was karma evening itself out, but hey, you accommodated, and they still hate you.
Mic drop.